So for those of us who have physical fitness as a priority, the coronavirus has kind of put a bit of a hamper on our progress. Gyms are closed and a lot of us don't have access to the same equipment that we're used to. A lot of us are lucky enough to have a set of bands or some light dumbbells, or some of us even have full home gyms. But there are some of us who all we have access to is body weight. So for those of us who can't really progress our exercises by adding weight and keeping intensity high, we have to find other ways to keep intensity high because we can't add to the load. So one of the best ways of doing that is by increasing time under tension. Okay, so what time under tension is it is defined as the amount of time a muscle is under strain during exercise. So for example, if I were to take my band here and start doing band pull aparts, if I were to do this for 30 seconds, my time under tension for that movement would be 30 seconds. So I'll write that down real quick. So now that we know what time retention is, let's talk briefly about why it's important to actually slow down and focus on the time that you're working as opposed to just pounding out reps. So increased time retention has been proven to increase both myofibular, which is the muscle fibers, and sarcoplasmic, which is the fluid inside of the muscle, hypertrophy. For those who don't know, hypertrophy is muscle growth. So just to briefly recap that in simpler terms, increased time retention equals increased muscle size over time. So now that we know that why time retention is important and why we should incorporate it in our workouts, let's start talking about how we can actually program that into our training. So obviously one way we can do this is just simply add more reps. So obviously if you go from doing a set of 12 to doing a set of 15, you'll be adding more time and retention. However, you can only really add so many reps to a set before it becomes tedious and hard to keep track. So I propose an alternative to that of timed sets. So in theory, let's say you're doing a set of banded curls. So normally you just do something like, let's do 5 sets of 10 to 12. Well, instead of that, let's think, how about we do 3 sets of 30 seconds straight? So continually moving for 30 seconds, not really keeping track of reps, just going for time. So because time sets involve a lot of time and retention, they are going to be mostly sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So it's going to be a lot of blood flow, very, very light, very high repetition, lots of blood pulled in the muscle. You're not really going to be burning yourself out. Like let's say the strain on a heavy deadlift, you're not going to get that out of this kind of training. So the good thing is, this is this kind of training is very easy on the body as it's so light and you're not going, that's kind of contradicting myself. Where's that going? Because it's so light, because you're pulling so much blood in the muscle, it's actually very easy for your body to recover from. Therefore, you can actually train the same muscle groups up to so even if you were to full on blast your upper back on Monday, because of what kind of training we're doing, you realistically could actually train it again in 48 hours. So you very easily could train each muscle group up to 3 times per week. So just to recap, Time sets aren't a miracle. They're not going to magically change your entire physical fitness program, but they are a great way to keep things fresh and get a good workout in, even when we don't have necessarily the ideal equipment or the ideal circumstances. So just to recap, instead of 3 sets of 15 reps, we would do 3 sets of 35 seconds. So now that we've gone over what time retention is, what is a time set, and why we should use them, let's go a little bit into how to program them into your training. So now that we know what time sets are and what the benefits of them is, let's go into a little bit of the programming behind them. So to start, I'm going to give you guys the template that I am going to program for beginners. So going off what I said earlier about how with this type of training, you can train the same muscle group up to 3 times a week. We're going to be training 3 times a week. You can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday is what I'd recommend, but you could also do, let's say, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever fits your schedule. Just make sure you have a rest day between each session. So even though we're training 3 times a week, we only have 2 different workouts that we do, day 1 and day 2. So how you're going to do that is you're going to alternate them every session. So on week 1, you would do day 1 on Monday, and then day 2 on Wednesday, and then day 1 again on Friday. And then you go to week 2, and you would do day 2 on Monday, and then day 1 on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So let's go into what the actual training days are. Let's start with day 1. Okay, and for reference, on week 1, all of your movements are 3 sets of 30 seconds to start with. So for day 1, we're going to start off with a banded row. Then we're going to go into single leg squats. And then banded leg curls. And then finally, band pull aparts. Okay, so that's your day 1. It's more of a lower body focus. And now for day 2. Day 2 is more of an upper body focus. So that's going to be starting off with band face pulls, push-ups, and tricep extensions. And finally, we're going to finish off with just some band X walks. Okay, so a lot of you might be saying that this isn't that much volume, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's not. This is the beginner template, and if you're a beginner, this much time and attention will make you absurdly sore. So we're going to keep the volume relatively low to start with, and you can progress over time. So here's how to progress this. So this is week 1, and every single week, you're going to add 5 seconds to each movement. So if week 1 is 3 sets of 30 seconds, week 2 is 3 sets of 35 seconds, and so on and so forth. You can repeat this program all the way up until you're doing 3 sets of 1 minute, and if you get to that point, you can either switch to a different program, or you could reset and do 4 sets of 30 seconds and work your way back up that way. So now that we've went over the beginner time set routine, I'm going to go over something that's a little bit more advanced. So this workout might not seem like that much to an advanced trainee, But over the course of 6 weeks, as you progress up to sets of a full minute, this will become very difficult very fast. So, same as the beginners, we have 2 workouts, except now we're training 4 days a week. I would propose Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So, we instead of having somewhat full body workouts with an emphasis, we have either lower body or upper body workouts. So, day 1, let's assume you're training Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So day 1, your upper body, you're doing a banded row, supersetted with push-ups to start off. So you do your banded row, and then immediately after you set the band down, you immediately go into your set of push-ups. 3 sets of 30 seconds on those. And then banded face pulls, superset with banded shrugs, banded tricep extensions, superset with banded hammer curls, and you can finish off with core work of your choice. You can do core work every single day on this if you'd like. So, and then we go into day 2, which would be Tuesday and Friday. We start off with some banded good mornings, and then you go into reverse lunges, and then band pull-throughs, more band rows, so you can never train your upper back too much, and then side planks. All 3 sets of 30 seconds. No supersets. You can, if you're feeling up to it, you can superset them. I'd recommend you don't to start with if you're new to this type of training. So, same as the beginner protocol, add 5 seconds every week until you're at 1 minute. Then you can reset and either start a different program, go back to normal type of training, or you can just reset and start off with 4 sets of 30 seconds. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this little bit of video on a little bit of non-conventional garage/home gym style training. If you have any questions, just feel free to send me a message. Thank you.